Nobel Prize winner Milton Friedman once said, "So that the record of history is absolutely crystal clear, there is no alternative way so far discovered of improving the lot of ordinary people that can hold a candle to the productive activities that are unleashed by a free enterprise system." Now, we might think, as in this cartoon, that the origins of the free enterprise system consist in any time people had desires that other people were capable of fulfilling. So, for example, someone wishes he had a rock, another person wishes he had a stick. The person with the wish for a rock has a stick, and the person with a wish for a stick has a rock. They trade. In general, anytime people exchange goods and services of this kind, we might say that a free market transaction has taken place. But the free enterprise system is more than just isolated trades of this kind. A free enterprise system is a system, and it's important that it's a system. It's something that people can rely upon. Now, what exactly is involved in a free enterprise system? Well, first of all, we have to have free exchanges of this kind. We have to have a framework in which people can make voluntary exchanges of goods and services. But that's a bare beginning. A couple of things seem vital to making it an actual system of free enterprise, as opposed to isolated free market activity. What seems vital is that it creates a framework in which people can exchange, in which they can buy, sell, make contracts, and do other things that are involved in the systematic exchange of goods and services. So we could put it this way. First of all, we have to have a rule of law that protects their right to property, for one thing. You're only going to be justly capable of trading, exchanging things, if you own them justly. So we're going to have to protect a right to property. But in general, we're going to have the predictability of the rule of law, so that we can predict the results of such exchanges. We have to know that people aren't going to cheat us, that they aren't going to take things from us by force, that the results of the exchange will be allowed to stand on the basis of their freedom and the fact that it was free agents making the trade of their own volition. So all of that is quite complicated. It requires a body of law. It requires a legal system. It requires that contracts, for example, be enforceable. It requires a predictable rule of law, as opposed to, for example, the arbitrary will of one person or another. So a huge amount of the framework, the kind of framework that John Locke defends in arguing for his version of the social contract, seems essential to having a real free enterprise system. Secondly, it requires a monetary system to facilitate exchange. Locke talks about that too. We could have a free market barter economy, but we're not going to get very far. For free enterprise to be effective, and for it truly to improve the welfare of the average person, we need money. We need something that is going to enable us to determine how much of this good is equivalent to how much of that good. How much of that good might be equivalent to that service, and so on. So we have to have a metric, a scale, on which we can compare various kinds of goods and services. Money provides that, and there really isn't any alternative way that's ever been developed of making such comparisons efficiently and effectively. People talk frequently about capitalism. Capitalism is more, however, than just a free enterprise system. Free enterprise of this kind goes back not just to John Locke, but all the way back to ancient times, where systematic bodies of law were developed in Babylon, in Athens, in Rome, and a variety of other places. Capitalism is an institution that arose out of the Renaissance, specifically something that emerged at the age of exploration, at the time when people began extensive trading with distant parts of the world. Now, what connection did that have to capitalism? Well, doing that kind of trading not only requires exchanging goods and services across monetary systems, but it also requires complexity. It requires large amounts of money, and it requires the ability to handle tremendous risk. Setting out on a sea voyage, engaging in trade with people at a great distance, all of those are risky activities. You're at the risk of storms, piracy, bandits of various kinds. And so it was natural for people to seek to accumulate large amounts of capital that they could use to finance sea voyages, for example, that they could use to finance large-scale trading expeditions. And in order for that to be possible, what was required? Well, the development of insurance, the development of banking. In general, we needed financial institutions to make it possible to engage in large-scale trade of this kind. So free enterprise, you might say, is something that happens anytime people freely exchange goods and services. But a free enterprise system adds to that the rule of law and a legal system to enforce contracts, as well as a monetary system to facilitate exchange. Capitalism adds on top of that large-scale financial institutions, institutions of banking, of insurance. It has to be possible for people to accumulate large amounts of capital. And so also a bond market, a stock market, those will be important to the development of large-scale amounts of capital required for building a ship, for sending ships out on a long-distance voyage, for engaging in activities like industrial production, like building a factory. Moving beyond small enterprises to large-scale enterprises requires financing. It requires insurance. It requires the sale of stock, enables joint ownership of things. All of that is something that emerged in roughly the 15th and 16th centuries, largely in Italy and the Netherlands, because those were centers of international trade. So capitalism is something quite specific. It is a system of free enterprise that allows the formation of large amounts of capital through the existence of financial institutions.